really cool, innovative new businesses or existing businesses with innovative new products and services. Going to do some presentations. But first up, I just wanted to get Mark on stage because Mark's the guy who's going to be doing the interactive taster session for the High Potential Startups program this afternoon. So Mark's just going to tell you a little bit about that and another really cool project that he's working on at the minute. So round of applause for Mark.
Thank you, Paul. So yeah, there's this program here which we're going to talk about this afternoon. I've got my colleague Kieran Parker, who's one of the other directors of Red Kite Innovation. So we're going to run a session on that, looking at really about how the High Potential program works, the type of style and format and everything else we go around it. But essentially, it's we've got two options we're looking at the moment. We've got a 6-month option, which is one workshop a month for 6 months. And then we're also going to run a boot camp version in the summer, in June and July, where it's 3 days intensive, which will probably blow our brains out, let alone the actual people involved in it. But they're very much interactive sessions around giving you the tools to help you grow your business. And we've got 14 companies on the program at the moment. We're looking to recruit another 15 to start in March, and then another 15 to start in the June period. So we've got sort of over that period. So what the program's about really is trying to say the Northeast is under-endowed with high-growth startup businesses. We tend to be quite good at starting businesses, but we don't tend to scale them and grow them. So what we're looking at is how do we do this from a pilot point of view in encouraging high-growth businesses. So that's what that program's about. The other bit I'm working on, which is at the other end in a way, is that the government has given funding to an association of 15 business schools around the country. Now, I work partly for Northumbria Business School, and as part of that, we're trying to recruit 50 companies who have been going for more than 3 years and employ less than 9 staff. So Kennedy, you fit the bill. So, but what we're looking for is what their government's trying to is commission the business schools to look at is what is the benefit of business support to those companies. And so we're trying to we got to somehow recruit 50 companies, of which 30 will be offered some support and 20 are control sample that won't get anything else other than attendance to workshops. But we're trying to get that group, and the focus of it is about productivity. The UK has a fundamental productivity problem vis-a-vis the rest of the world, or most of our competitors, and we've got to address that. So we're trying to look at whether business support allows us and facilitates us to actually achieve that. So we're really keen to get hold of businesses that fit that category, more than 3 years, employ less than 9 people, who want to get involved in a workshop and hopefully get selected to have some additional business support over a 4-hour period, and then we'll look at the impact of that through Innovate UK funding that the business schools have got from the government. So that's me, Paul.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. When does that start?
Well, we're looking to have the first workshop. As always with these things, the program's been going since September, and 15 business schools working together is a nightmare, trying to work out the process, the systems and everything else, so it's all consistent. But we're due to have the first workshop in end of February, during February, and I can tell people the dates. I've got them in my calendar.
Okay, right, great. And if they want to find out,
just come just give me your names and I'll put you on the list and we'll get you invited.
Right. Okay, brilliant. Okay, so thank you for that. Just on that, the event that I was at in Edinburgh yesterday, which was all about open banking, they had Emma Jones, the founder of Enterprise Nation. She was speaking at the event, and she was talking about the productivity issue. And she was saying that she's never met a small business or a micro business owner that thinks they're not being productive, right?
Yeah.
So they don't think, oh, I wish I could be more productive, because they're doing so many different things, right? But what they do need help with is help with the sales and marketing, the business development, all the other stuff to grow the business, right? But one thing she said here is, what was it? From their own research, apparently only 1 in 5 businesses seek help and support.
Yeah.
Right? But the ones that do tend to perform better. Okay, so how do you encourage more businesses to seek the help that's available?
Yeah.
Right? And then one of the reasons they don't seek help is there's too much choice. They don't know who to trust,
Yeah.
and they're not sure of the cost.
Yeah.
So that's something that they're trying to do. We're trying to do all this sort of stuff. So I've just mentioned that because it's.
Oh, it's really useful because I've been involved with the Productivity Through People program that Aston University run,
Yeah.
and I've been coaching 3-4 companies down in the West Midlands, and it's really interesting because one of the companies was a software company that assisted bigger engineering companies with their productivity, and yet they wanted productivity advice as to how to get the best out of their staff. And it's just like this inherent contradiction in a way, but it's kind of interesting. Another one I've got is a soap company, natural soap company, and their big issue was that she actually had to leave the program for 3 months to sort out their whole sales process because they got all their pricing wrong, because they started out with this and just kept growing it and suddenly realised actually it doesn't work. So we've got to rethink. And so I'm going back and training 3 of their staff through a productivity program. And it's all about, the Aston University stuff is all about how we get the best out of our people to achieve productivity. So it's not about how busy we are, it's how smart we are. And that's where the sort of stuff that Kennedy's talking about fits in so nicely in terms of actually integrating what we do systematically. So yeah, I endorse that fully. And it's kind of interesting when you look at that whole, how useful is business support? And I find it frustrating the government's only wanted to do 4 hours. Because 4 hours, you hardly get to know the company before you left them. And it's very difficult to establish the benefit of that. But I think even a short period of time, if you get the right sort of coach along, they can push you in the right direction and signal you towards other programs and other support, which will be of immense benefit to companies.
Okay.
Okay, cheers now.
Thank you. All right. Well, the fact that you're here today, that's a good sign that you're coming here to find out what's going on. So everyone in this room is going to be more successful because you're here, right? And if you come to the start of week in May, you're going to be really successful. Okay. Okay. So our first show and tell, I'd like to invite up. Right, I'm going to get this one. Is it Yuli? Yeah. Yuli.
Hello everyone.
Hello. Round of applause to Yuli.
Yeah. So I'm going to talk about a lot today. So I'm going to speed up my speaking. So please pause me if my speaking is so fast, too fast. Okay. So firstly, my name is Yuli. I am the founder and CEO of the M&I Business Consulting. So what we do is we provide the machine learning and artificial intelligence consultant for small and medium business. Why not large business? Because people already own their own like a team for that. So, but for I will talk about that. So machine learning is everywhere. Now, has anyone never heard of machine learning or AI here? Probably not. Yes, machine learning and AI is everywhere, and so most of the companies use AI in their companies to maybe reduce their costs, to generate customer insights, and to improve their customer experience. So I don't want to emphasize the importance of AI in the future for your business. I just want to emphasize some issues that you may come across when you want to deploy your AI in your own business. So firstly, probably I would like to give AI and machine learning a try, but it's so complicated. What I mean by complicated is like this. So there are thousands of models, kernels, different targets, different algorithms. So, and also lots of maths, lots of coding, which makes machine learning is not DIY-able for most of us. Okay. So now you may think, okay, I can hire someone to do this. But it's still difficult to hire someone because, firstly, an engineer in machine learning is so expensive. So the average annual salary for a machine learning engineer is nearly £50,000 in the UK. And this is just for one engineer. If you want to build a team, that's even double, triple. Okay. And also, most of the problem can be solved in the short term, rather than a long-term, recruitment. So, and also the uncertainty, because it is the machine learning and the AI is so complicated. and most of us don't understand it very well, so it can be challenging to hire someone who is actually right for you. Okay? And then it is so time-consuming and complex to manage a group of machine learning engineers team. Okay? And then, what about we go to other like AI consultants? The problem is most of the AI consultants is all about made of like technical groups, which means they don't quite understand how the real business is running. And we are in all different kinds of like industries, and without that business sense, without that business strategy knowledge, it is so difficult for them to align their techniques with your business goals. Okay? And I'm going to talk about how we can come up with to solve the problem that we mentioned before. Okay? So we call ourselves AI and I, and the reason why we call this name is because firstly, we are a AI consultant. Of course, we provide the service for the consultant service, and also we do the actual project for you. And also, I think for me, the most important one is I means the personal part, which means we actually analyze your business strategy so that we can, firstly, we can translate your business problem into some problem that machine learning engineers can understand. So, and also we call ourselves business consulting because we are here to actually solve your real business problem rather than we just say AI can do everything. No, we never do that. So, here is our business model. So we are a bridge between all the businesses and all the good engineers, experts in machine learning and AI. Why can we do that? Because we have, firstly, as we said, we have a lot of experience in business, and we know both parts. We know the business, we know the techniques. So, firstly, we can translate or convert your problem into something that those machine learning engineers can understand, so that they can solve it using algorithms. So, and also, we know, we have a relationship with all of the good engineers and experts in the universities, Newcastle University and the Durham University. You may ask, why can't I just go to the university myself? Okay, it's just so complex to deal with those like big institutions. That's the first reason, and the second reason is those universities, they might think academically. So it's not necessary for them to understand the real business issues that you are facing. So, right, to make sure that we can deal with, right, okay, for me, my background is not machine learning, but how can you, me ask, how can you ensure that you can find the best people to work for me? Okay, let me introduce my CTO. Okay, he's not here, that's why I put his big picture here. So he's my CTO, and he's currently the assistant professor in Durham University. It's good, isn't it? It's like Apple. It's like Apple product. Yes. Yes. He's very happy with this picture. Yes, that's why he asked me to do this. Right, yeah, he's currently an assistant professor in Durham University, and he's has got involved in many like multi-million pounds projects. I will introduce some of them. So the first one is very interesting, and he's doing you can see you can use the wearable device to detect a kind of stroke in babies. So because before the senior expert has to sit there for 1 or 2 hours to actually watch the movement, but now we can just use this wearable device to detect the abnormal movement and to identify the stroke and the possibility of the stroke. And as you can see the result here, so their result is like 77.5% of the accuracy. It's higher than the normal human expert and the deep learning method, but it's lower than the senior expert, but considering the efficiency, it's definitely worth it. So now, what they are doing is they use this algorithm to detect the potential possibility and to detect the abnormal movement, and then the senior expert can go back to the video to that exact point and to diagnose. Right, okay, and awesome deep learning animation. There's nothing important here. I just think it's cool and I want to share with you. Look at that. Look at that. That is how deep learning is working. This is how convolutional neural network is working. And it's cool, isn't it? It's so cool. So I can't please share with you guys. Right. Okay. So coming to the next one. So here are some other projects that my CTO has involved. For example, this one is very interesting because the privacy law is quite strict in Europe, right? Because of the GDPR things, and people think the privacy is so important to their lives. So that's why, you know, instead of detecting all the faces in the camera to identify someone, they developed a 360-degree gate generation or detection algorithm, so that they can identify anyone in the camera by just identifying their gait, so how they walk, how they run. So and also they can use the algorithm to generate a 360-degree, so that if another camera at a different angle detects this human, and they can detect it straight away. And also, for example, that one, just reinforcement learning for automatic house planning, and also other projects that they got involved. So this makes sure that our CTO is capable of doing all the development and organizing all the people out there. So. Right, okay. So we've sorted out the technical parts, okay. We've sorted out, right, we manage the team, we manage the techniques, and we manage the engineers. You don't need to worry about it. And but you may ask, how can you make sure that what you are doing can align with my business scope? Okay. So I'm currently doing my PhD study at business school at Durham University. So, and within the last 10 years, I've studied so many businesses, so I have lots of experience in businesses. And also, I was personally trained by one of probably the most expensive business consultants in China. So his hourly rate is about like £18,000 an hour. So, yeah. So, has anyone wondered why business consultants can give you actually the advice, even if they never worked in your industry? No? Yeah, because in our brain we have lots of models that has been abstracted from other maybe a McKinsey consulting companies. So we have lots of models, knowledge, and to deal with all different kind of problems. So, right. So what we do actually is this is input. That means your labor, your money, all the influences that you have, all the resources you have, and you want some output, making money. But in some government or charity, it's just a different purpose. But our job as a business consultant or business strategist is to find out what's happening here. So now here, I'm going to tell you or teach you a very simple but powerful tool in business strategy that only good consultants use. This is called system dynamic modeling. So, right, so what's inside of the system? The system is made of variables. It means your labor, your resource, your money, or the third party, your supplier, the supply chain, everything is called the variable. And also, more important, is the relationship between those variables. So to describe this system, we have a tool called system dynamics modeling. So the variables is, like I said, it's all about the money, so all the factors that can, or the resource that can influence your outcome. And also this can describe, this is boring, isn't it? Don't worry, I'll talk about that in later. So this this is called different tools to describe the relationship between all those variables. So this tool is very simple but powerful. Okay, so I will tell you the secret of our company, that because to identify if a business consultant is good or bad, you just simply say if they are doing what they are saying. Okay? So we ourselves are using this tool to make our strategy. So firstly, as a business consultant, do you guys think what's our outcome, or expected outcome?
Clients. Money?
Yeah, exactly. Of course, we want revenue. We are not here to save the world, okay? Of course, we want that revenue, but where is the revenue come from? Clients, yes. So the number of clients, but where is the client from? The reputation. Yes. So where is the reputation from?
Work.
Yeah, projects. And where's the projects from? How can we make sure that we can do more projects? We need the real world experience. It's not just academic, papers. We want the real the knowledge of how can the machine learning or AI can actually work in the real world. So what can cause the increase of our experience? This loop is called reinforcement loop, which is very important for any business. And in Bezos, the Amazon CEO, call it the flywheel. But in the system dynamics modeling, we call it a reinforcement loop. So it is so important to identify this loop. Otherwise, you have to work really hard to, for example, if you want to encourage someone, if you have to get your hand dirty and to encourage someone, it's so difficult. But if you give him a commission, salespeople can work harder themselves, so that you don't have to keep pushing them. So this is very important. So which part do you think is the most important part for us?
Reputation.
Exactly. So the reputation is the one. This is why I'm here speaking. Okay? So the reputation is the key point where we can increase our clients and increase our experience and more projects, more reputation. Okay?
There's more missing, which is value.
What do you mean by value?
It's like you're saying revenue is the goal.
Oh yeah, the revenue. See, we don't focus on our revenue.
Yeah.
We only focus on reputation.
Yeah.
That's why we make this, so that we can know there is one point we can focus on. Okay? But there is one problem here. It is called lag. Lag means there is this effect does not work instantly, not immediately, okay? Because from repetition to the time when clients come over, there is a time lag. And also, the lag exists in every step. So how can we do it? We need to speed up each one by ourselves, rather than just wait there and wait for the clients to come over and to get some experience in these projects and reputation. It's so slow. Okay, to speed it up, we need to focus on, for example, for projects. So I'm just keep writing articles about how machine learning can help your business, or maybe Twitter, on blogs, things like that. And we need to build our own projects to increase our reputation. Also, I need to. That's why I'm here to tell you what we are doing and to increase our reputation as well. And clients, we can't do anything. To be honest, without the reputation, the clients won't come. So the experience. So we need to think about it. So we need to do more research on it. We need to stay updated in this field of machine learning and how machine learning can help business. So by speed up every step, this wheel can speed up, it can go faster and faster. So in my idea, so AI plus the business strategy equals future. Okay, so if you are interested in how you can use your the machine learning and artificial intelligence in your own businesses, please, okay, catch up. So Twitter, email, or just call me if you don't want to type.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
questions now?
Yeah, I've got one.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you said basically, as everything in life, your reputation is massive.
Yeah.
How's your reputation in the North East? Was it global? Was it UK Where's your business coming from?
Right. For me, the reputation is all about how many people. Sorry. The reputation is all about how many people know that you are capable of doing this. You are capable of solving problems for themselves. So it's because it's a digital. I would say it's digital industry. So it's globally. I would say.
To your market?
So yeah, it's a market globally. So yeah.
I think it's worth letting people know a bit more. I mean, the capability that we've got here in the northeast in terms of machine learning and AI is world class, isn't it? Like
Yes,
universities, a lot of
definitely.
people don't appreciate the talent that we've got here on our doorstep. So that is a real kind of USP for the region compared to other areas. And I know you're a Durham uni, but at Newcastle University we've got the new National Innovation Centre for Data.
Oh yes.
It's just
Next to the open lab.
Yeah. The clue's in the name, National Innovation Centre for Data. And then they've also got the National Innovation Centre for Aging as well. So those assets there, it's a real centre of excellence, and companies like Amazon, Facebook, Google, they're going there to find talent already in that. So yeah, we've got definitely, it's really exciting to be in the northeast right now. And feel part of it. Great. Okay, thank you. If anyone wants to talk
Thank
to
you.
Billy,
Thank you very much.
You're going to be here all morning,
I'm going to teach this afternoon at Durham University.
Thank you. Okay, right, next up, I'd like to invite Suki to the stage. So some of you regulars who were here, Suki spoke here back in July, I think, last year.
Yeah.
So she's going to give you a bit of an update on what she's been up to since then. Okay? Thank you. Big round of applause for Suki.
Right, thank you very much for letting me be here. And yes, I'm just Suki. I'm not technical at all, and I think all this law and digital people, you are just so clever. Okay, I happen to be a founder of the Power of You. I'm very spontaneous person. In December 2018, I was driving from London with my friend after attending a personal development event and talking, why we driving? It's London, but the thing is, we decided to go in a very last minute. So unless you have paid like £300-400, it's better to go driving. And we pulled the car and went together. So on the way back, we were talking and I said, do you know what, why do we have to travel all over there to attend some events? We could have our own here. We are northeast. We've got so many people and everyone's great.
Yes, we are.
So just came back and spoke to a few of my friends and okay, let's do it. By the way, I'm an accountant. I've never ever organized any type of events. And working 9 to 5 at my current job and probably 8 to 2 in the morning, my Power Few. So made it happen and created, brought about just over 100 people and with 6 speakers. So that's how the Power of You happened, and we've raised just over £1,800 for the charity because it was my very first event, and I'm a charitable person, so that was it. And in 2019 also was really big year for me. Somehow I started interviewing my friends online and doing little, I wouldn't call it podcast. You know, sometimes like friends get together and they say, shall we do that? Yeah, let's have a go. No one will watch us. And we started doing it, and at the end of the year I had 52 interviews, and it's called I'm Possible Conversation. It's not impossible conversation, it's I am possible conversation. And we talked about their business, why they founded it, is that right? why they decided to do it, and what's their story, what's their dream, and what challenges they overcome. And it was all about them, their human story. And 2019 is gone, and September's gone. The Power of You was successful. And I was thinking, what shall I do next? And do you know what I decided to do? I want to bring our impossible conversation into stage. I want real people's story. It's nothing to do with business. I want your story as a human, as a Paul, as a Sarah, as a Rebecca. I want you to come up on a stage and speak what your passion is, what you like to do, what lessons you've learned just in life. Not really a business. So I am going to have an event in March. It's going to have probably name. So my vision is there are going to be 30 people, 6 speakers, and when people enter the room, they are not going to be who they are. They are going to be who they are as a human. I don't care if you are PhD, or you are student, or you are engineer, or some very, very clever bloke in digital marketing. No, I don't know, like this digital world, or millionaire, or broke. I don't care. I treat you as a human. And another thing is going to be, I'm not interested in your names. I would like you to send me, like whoever's coming, send me an email. What would you describe yourself as a human? Adventurous or beautiful? Dancer? Poet? And you go into that room and you know each other, what you describe yourself as a human. So you have some topics to talk about. And then, obviously, I'm thinking about it, but someone can just come on the stage and share their story, or I could have a couple of prepared speeches as well. So that's the plan. Also, I don't know why I'm getting nervous here. Yes, that's the plan, and it's all about human story. Nothing to do with business and what's like great achievement you got on your CV. Just going to treat everyone exactly the same. How am I doing, by the way? The second event is, I think, as a president of Toastmaster of Cast Communications, presenting in front of other people could bring you so much business opportunities and expose you to different opportunities. However, sometimes people get nervous like me and maybe just stop in the middle of their sentence. So what I've decided to do is I've asked my friend Simon, Presentation Genius. He is got very long title. He's an author of a high street top 10 bestseller, the book called Presentation Genius, and he's uniquely given double-length speaking slot at national conference of the Public Speaking Association. That's a public speaking association, that's a professional speakers, and he's been given double slot to present to them. And he's also recently closed Atomic X just before Christmas, and he had a drama on stage, and he's also written plays, directed operas. So what we are going to do is, it's all about you as well. You're going to have 30 people and 6 speakers. Again, exactly the same. But this time, it's going to be business. 6 people come up, one by one, of course, going to present their business speech, what they're going to talk about. Like me, it's not business really, but speak how they present their business to other people. And then Simon's going to give feedback, professional feedback, how that presentation can be improved, and also we possibly ask the people in the audience if some feedback, and maybe the person who's presenting, they want to have 2-3 areas they want to improve or questions to ask. For example, if I was speaking here, I would like to ask you, are you going to buy any ticket? And then if I couldn't present it in that level, that means it was unsuccessful. And if I could convince you that is successful, so you're going to get that level of feedback from the audience as well as from professional speaker. And it's going to be coming soon. And another event I'm working on is Thinking into Results event. Has anyone ever heard about Bob Proctor? So Bob Proctor is a Canadian who has been in personal development scene over 60 years. And his program is based on a Think and Grow Rich. So we happen to have his certified consultant in Northeast, but she didn't tell us and we never knew it. And probably if somebody might just go to London or different places to attend that type of seminar and conferences, but we got one here. And she is going to run a series of workshops based on a Thinking into Results program. And that program is all about your mindset. It's about applying what you know to practice and do things, because we know loads of things, but we never do them. Like I knew that I was going to come and present here, but I finished my slides this morning, 3 o'clock. So I knew it probably months ago, but like it's knowing and doing. So going to get rid of that gap, and everything you know, you will do. So that's how Thinking into Results workshop will help you guys to succeed your business and have that high turnover. Is it like 3 years, £1 million turnover? Amazing, isn't it? Attend and develop yourself personally, and you will get there. What's the next? Oh, yeah. So Untitled Conversation, the storytelling event, that's going to come in March, and Presentation Genius Workshop is going to be February and March, and Thinking into Results going to be, it's already advertised in Eventbrite, but it's going to be, because the Thinking into Results program's got 12 categories, no subjects, so it's going to be each monthly workshop. And I'm thinking Untitled Conversation will be quarterly event. And if you would like to find out more, or just interested in attending, just follow us on Twitter and Facebook, and I'll be updating my social media report. Thank you.
Okay, she doesn't want any questions, I don't think. I was just going to say, well done, because when I first met you, you came here and you just said, Paul, I need your help, I'm going to do an event, can you give me some advice? I was like, yeah, okay. And then when, considering you've never done an event before, what you had in mind, I was just like, oh my God, like, she doesn't know what she doesn't know, right? So I gave you some advice, but what you pulled off was brilliant. It was such a good event. I really, really enjoyed it, and I'm so impressed with how much effort and your work ethic and how you pulled that all together to your own personality, but also it's kind of what you're talking about, the Bob Proctor, you're thinking. I've just finished a book, it's called by a guy called Mike Dooley. It's called Infinite Possibilities, and it's all about, it's very spiritual. It's not the sort of book I would normally read, but it's brilliant because it's the main theme is thoughts become things. So if you think about something, it doesn't matter how ambitious it might seem, but if you think about it and you focus on it every day and you visualize it, and then you follow it with action, which is exactly what you did. You said you were going to do it, and you followed it up, and you made it happen.
That's fake into results, like he's advertising it. So.
Yeah. So, and seriously, if you think about it, when you read it, like everything positive that's ever happened in your life has started with an idea. You thought about it, you focused on it, you verbalized it, you told other people, and then you followed it up with action.
That's exactly it.
So that's basically.
That's exactly it.
And
Yeah.
everything that's ever happened with me, even started week, I had an idea, started telling people about it, made it happen. It doesn't matter how ridiculous it might seem, even that £1 million turnover business
Yeah, 3 years.
seems
£1 million
ridiculous,
it
but
will happen for all of you.
it can happen. So yeah, I love it. Okay, and the other thing is Simon Raybould as well. Who spoke at the start of the week last year. I'm doing a podcast with him on Monday. So if anyone's into podcasts, I've got a podcast called The Super Connector Show. So Simon will be talking with me on Monday, and it'll probably go out on Tuesday next week. So it's on Apple, it's on Google, it's on Spotify, it's on Spreaker, it's everywhere. And the last one that we did last month was all about sales. So if anyone struggles with sales and how to convert interest into sales, really encourage you to listen to that one because it is pure gold. Not because it's me, because of the lady that's speaking on it, Victoria, an absolute sales genius. So definitely encourage you to listen to that.
Sorry, did you say Super Connector?
The Super Connector Show. So Super Connector is one word. And you'll see my face with a hood looking like a
I'll try with her.
Sith or something, like a Sith Lord. Yeah. Right, okay, next up I'd like to invite Nina. So Nina is going to talk about something called I Am Remarkable, which is powered by Google and which is now available in the Northeast. Thanks to Nina. So a big round of applause for Nina.
Just to know, it's available by me and another girl who couldn't be present here today because she's working away in London. So basically, it's this I received from Google last week. I felt really proud to be initiated into the Google family with my social media badge. And it's something I did, just to give you a bit of a backstory. I'm Remarkable is a Google thing, there's a bit of text here, but to sum it up, it's basically an education piece, a self-empowerment piece, a leadership development piece about doing a workshop where you basically get educated about what diversity and underrepresented groups can add to your commercial bottom line if you have them in boards or senior leadership positions. The reasoning for Jane and I to do this basically was I grew up here, I was born here, I went to school here, and then I pretty much went to university and didn't come back for 22 years. So I've just come back with my husband and my kids, and I basically started working here about 18 months ago. And the same was with Jane, that's me. This is very texty, just who will run these sessions. But we both just came back and found, after living in London and abroad, that we felt like it was quite backward in some of the areas we were working in. I used to be a journalist for years, so I care a lot about social change. So I'm the complete opposite about money and the bottom line. I was one of those girls who thought she could change the world, and I joined Reuters and I worked a lot in frontline news. And then I worked loads for NGOs like Amnesty and ActionAid, that's a really long thing. And then I moved into marketing after I had my kids. So social cause is really important to me. And with Jane, very similar to me, we're both of Indian and Italian backgrounds, grew up here, and she owns a company. And we just came back and thought that the region was quite white and underrepresented in some of the meetings we were going to, and the experiences we had were a little bit odd to some of the experiences we'd had in London and abroad. We absolutely do not hate white middle-aged men of privilege. I am married to a white man, and my mentor is a man of privilege, so I can't say that. But I think it's very much to the individual. But we just kind of saw this, and because I'd attended quite a few Google things through my working career in London, we just thought it'd be quite interesting to bring it to the region. So this is a bit of detail about it. and it's quite interesting when you do it. So it's a workshop where it's quite cheesy, and you do actually have to talk about why you are reparable. So it falls a little bit in with you about empowerment, but it's about, so I've had a lot of teams in my life, be it remote, and people I've hired, who even when they've come into the position, I can't give them the confidence to speak up in meetings. Like, they've passed everything and they're very clever, but they don't always deliver in the meetings, and I never really, and that's a difficult thing to deal with as a manager, because you're trying to give them confidence, but it's also equally, you just can't do it, so you can't give someone confidence. So it's kind of like an empowerment piece of how do you gain confidence. And then we met a lot of people, and Paul's been great, and so we talked a lot about this with people, and people were just not getting the kind of idea that clearly we are kids of immigrants, she's Italian, I'm Indian, and they weren't really getting what we were talking about. So this debate in London is very common. These books are very common in London, but quite a few people had never heard of them up here. So someone said to me, I have no idea what you're talking about. So I just said, why don't you just read the books? So there's a reason why I put these books up. And basically our end game is that it's basically just Jane and myself, and we want to create a movement. So we want people to go and feel like they can get trained up by Google. So in about 6 months to 10 months that we have a working group of 10 trainers, and we build a footprint in the region. And by empowering these people and feeling that they can come into a meeting, and it's not just Black and Asian, it's women as well, and it's underrepresented groups like LGBT. And for one, it will add to the economic development of the region. Two, it's a nice thing to do. It's actually, basically, I would think, educational and leadership development. And it's just a bit different, and it brings that, if you're into this, a bit of Silicon Valley to the region. It's all a little bit, not that I'm dissing the region, but when you come here and you're working away, it does feel sometimes like, other than Barclays Test Back and Newcastle Startup Week, like, where is everyone, you know? The experiences Jane and I have had, and we actually met at a rather backward event that both of us were just sitting there going, when is this over, you know? So it's kind of like a social movement. We want people to feel the cause that we feel. So it's, I mean, this is very cool at the minute for females to be in boards and to have this kind of imposter syndrome debate. So it talks a lot about that in its education piece. So you'll go along, you will have a lot of details thrown at you if you want them. If you come along to the workshop, you also get a literature review about the statistics of what it is for your commercial bottom line that you can go back and take to your boss and say, if you know, empowered and gave me more confidence and you invested in leadership training for me, then I will apply for roles and I will go into senior director roles, and then I'll go onto the board. But it has to come slowly, it doesn't happen overnight. So that's kind of what we're running, and we've literally just got qualified. Like, we've literally got a sticker and a tote bag from Google in the post last week. And I got told I could buy a t-shirt. I got that to put in my social media channels. So I felt really welcome. Yeah, of course. Yeah, so the book was just, it was just the easiest way to try and get across what Jane and I were trying to talk about, really. So she is Italian, her dad's Polish, no, dad's Italian, her mum's Polish. She's actually, so I'm a second generation immigrant. My parents came from India and I was born here. But I won't lie, I mean, I've had some real non-aggressive and racism over the years growing up here, which is in the past. But I mean, the experiences I've had, and I tell people, they're shocked. But I mean, it's when you grow up with something all your life in the 80s, you just accept it. So, and it's a sad thing to say that, as do many of the people I have grown up with. We've all gone on and done quite well in our careers, some might say. So that book came out about 3 years ago, and I met Nick actually. He's really good. And to be fair, in London, everyone had read it in my team, and I just mentioned it up here, and absolutely no one had ever heard of it. So it felt like a good way to just put it in the slide, to maybe get across. And it's some very contemporary writers as well, who are journalists and writers and on the BBC, who are doing very well. And then that's a very old book that I thought everyone had read, but equally never heard of it. So I thought, well, I did that. I mean, I'd love to get more books and ideas sent to me on Twitter, but I just don't, you know, they were the ones that came to mind. But yeah, so that's it. And we would love you to, if you're interested, get trained up and take it out into your networks, because we're very aware this is a 10 and 15 year investment in the region, and we can't do it. We want you to go out and take it to your organisations. I mean, you get cool Google badges for your social media. You you get to put it on your LinkedIn, you get to be an advocate in your company, and people know who you are, and you get to run the workshop in your organisation. And we very much want to produce a grassroots movement, which is my experience because I've worked a lot in NGOs. And then you get to join a group of me and Jane where we meet in a cafe or a bar and we just talk. So that's what we're trying to achieve, and we're not starting it yet because both of us are very busy in our own lives. I work with Paul on other things, and we're going to talk at Newcastle Startup Week, maybe in a kind of representation debate kind of thing we're thinking, and we're hoping to get maybe 6 to 8 trainers in the next 6 months, then we can launch it, because it's physically impossible for Jane and I to do it. So we want other people to join. Google run these training sessions 4 times a year. It's a 2-hour online thing, and there was like 20 people on it. No one was from the UK. Loads of people from me were from the States, Israel and Europe, and then you have to run your own mini workshop, then you get people to reply back to how you did, then you get qualified. So there's a few hoops to jump in, then you get your tote bag. So it felt like when that came through last week, I'd made it. And then they send you loads of stuff on email, you get these little mail shots from them. And we just wanted to bring, like Paul, I mean, I truly believe I want to champion the region. I'm a returner, I grew up here, my kids are going to school here, and we just want to bring a bit of a footprint up here, as does Jane, because we've just come back and we've got fresh eyes, really. So yeah, if you want to do, I mean, you don't have to really contact us, to be honest. You could just, if you're interested, go onto the events page, and then once you're trained, contact us, because we'd love to know you, because it's only us 2 at the minute, and Paul. And Paul's not got time to get trained, he just comes along and talks to us. He doesn't even
Talk to anyone. But on that, I took part in your
He
workshop.
took part in our workshop,
So
yeah.
that was, you needed to do the workshop to get qualified, didn't you?
Yeah, so 5 people had to say nice things about us to Google. And it's quite a funny story, and I said this to Paul, so I had to email everyone who come to my workshop because Google hadn't registered the survey responses. And I thought, this thinking Google can't do it. So then I had just checked everyone going, did you say nice things about me? And only 1 showed up, so I got a bit stressed because you've got to do it within 1 month. And then they eventually sorted themselves out and said it's Christmas and New Year, we've got a backlog. And then they sent me an email saying you're qualified. So it felt really like a big moment. It really did, especially when I got the stickers. And then questions, yeah, please take our contact details down. So we've got Twitters as well, but I haven't put that on there. But yeah, just, I mean, the really is we want you to go and get trained, and then we want to hear back from you. And if you, once you get trained, if you feel like you work in an organisation where it would benefit you, then say, oh, can you come and do it with us? Because it's more fun running it as 2 people, we noticed that night. Like, I ran it on my own, and there was Paul there, and there was 5 of us. But I think if you did it for more than 8 people, I think you'd need 2 people. Because it's funny, when they give it to you, it's a non-editable PDF. You can't do anything to it, and there's a timer on it, and they're very draconian. So it's nice to do it with someone, I think. And then after that, we are also allowed to get sponsors. So if anyone would like to sponsor us, we're on the lookout. Someone who's got the same values and ethics as me and Jane, though, we're quite aware of that. So we're allowed to get sponsored, and that is from event space and maybe some refreshments and obviously admin and marketing. And we're allowed speakers as well after it. So they allow loads of things, but the actual workshop is dependent on number. So we've kind of got a bit of thing. And then also, when you go onto social media on Twitter, it's quite a movement online doing it. Like really famous people have done videos and stuff that you can retweet in your social channels, and then they send you things on email. So it's quite nice. It's quite empowerment, but on a business level as well.
Great.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone got any questions for me now before? Yeah, fine, Hamid.
Yeah, perhaps I've missed it. As an attendee, what do I get? How much does it cost? How long does it take?
So it's free.
Do I leave a certification? And how do you, as an organisation, know whether or not the impact that I, as an attendee, have made has been worth it?
So basically it's a free workshop, and if you're attending, you don't get an accreditation, you're just attending and saying I attended an I Am Remarkable workshop. If you want to get trained, that's your accreditation.
Yeah, that's where I was getting confused.
Yeah,
You
so
talk about
I'm
training
asking
and-
for trainers. I'm here today because I want people to train to run these workshops, but pretend, to be fair, I'm probably talking to the converted. I'm not the sort of person who needs to attend this workshop, I'm delivering it. But someone who wants to attend this workshop are the ones who don't speak up or feel lost, don't have confidence. But you just walk away feeling empowered, apparently. I mean, you do feel empowered. It's a bit different for me because I'm running it, so I kind of, Paul attended
Yeah, I mean, I totally buy into what you're trying to do with it, and it was interesting because it does force you to go quite deep into kind of yourself about why you do what you do and what your motivations are and where your barriers are, your self-limiting beliefs and all that sort of stuff. So I think that is really valuable, and there's loads of people. I mean, there's a few people in this room who I think should do it or would be up for doing it. So I think it's important and fantastic that you bring this here to the Northeast.
And the length is dependent on number of attendees. So I had 5, so we pretty much done and dusted them. We all had chat about things, didn't we?
Yeah.
I personally, me and Jane decided we're not going to have more than 10 people because people share quite personal things if they want to. It's professional and personal. And they actually have a lot of academic lit review in it as well about statistics. They're quite American and Harvard led. So at the minute I'm trying to get regional statistics, and we've emailed them saying, can we bring it to the region? And there's they want you to show their statistics, but then you can talk about your regional specifics as well. It's very global, the workshop as well.
Okay. So if anyone wants to know, obviously you're going to stick around for a little bit of a lunch, speak to Nina. So if you want to be trained up, speak to you, but also if you want to bring Nina and Jane into your organisation to deliver some workshops, that'd be really good to from like an internal sort of coaching or CPD or something like that. Yeah, I think that would be really valuable. Okay, great, thank you, thanks Nina. And what she didn't say, I mean, she did brush over it a little bit. I mean, she is a very successful journalist. Okay, so not only you work for Thomson Reuters, you work for BBC, you've been a written journalist, but also you've been on TV. Nina is a real talent, and so it's fantastic. Which is back here in the Northeast. She is what we call a boomerang. We're seeing more and more people who are from here originally. They've gone away, they're being really successful, and then they're coming back to the Northeast because they want the family to be here, or they want new opportunities, or just a change of pace of
Can I
life.
also add though, I have major imposter syndrome, and I'm generally, even though I've been famous, absolutely got on the neurosis train and gone to Crazy Town many times in my life. And I just think anyone who's been where I've been and walked away, there's reasons for that. So and I'm happy to share that. I left on-screen reporting 10 years ago, and I've done loads of webinars and stuff. And I know many famous people who, when you meet us, we're just normal. And I know that sounds beautiful, but all of us feel like you want to get up and speak, and I think this piece is quite good about that. So it just to break barriers of what it takes to be whatever famous is these days. I don't really know. So I left before social media hit, so I like that idea. I didn't have to deal with that much. It's a different world now. So.
All right, another round of applause for our last talk before lunch. I'm really excited to have Judith. So Judith Hender is going to talk now. So Judith, I met her at another event, which was upstairs at Department of International Trade, and when she told me what she did, I was like, well, you need to come and speak at Founders Friday. So she's not been here before, she didn't know anything about it, but she's a big fan already. So right, big round of applause for Judith.
Hi everyone, so this is Judith Hender. I'm struggling a little bit today with my voice, but I hope you can still hear me. First of all, I would like to give credit to Paul. What he does here is amazing and it's going around. I've been running my business for the last 2 years, and I never knew that I could actually come and get this kind of support that's available here. I've been connecting with entrepreneurs and businesses and networks in the US and some other countries, and I'm very happy to have this support here. So as Paul mentioned, I'm already a huge fan, honored to be here as well. What I will try to do, I'm conscious that we're running a little bit late and you might want to have your lunch. I will try to make it brief. A little bit about myself. I was debating with myself, where do I start my story? You might notice my accent. I'm Hungarian, born in Transylvania, Romania. By paper I'm Romanian, but otherwise I'm Hungarian. In 1989, with my family on a regular Sunday, I would call it regular, but it wasn't actually, it was Christmas Day as well. We were sitting to have lunch, and all of a sudden something came on the TV, and it was just one of them shocks that reverberated over my entire life. We actually witnessed the execution of a dictator on television. And at that point, as if that wasn't enough, we were asking, my brother and myself, we were asking our parents, so what now? And from that point, they never had answers for us. And that was horrible. It was a new world coming that they didn't know about. And when you cannot get help from your parents, where do you go for help? So that was the point where my journey started. And I only mentioned it very briefly because it took me on a very long journey across several different countries, several different industries, and now building my business upon that. Purely because I've grown to appreciate opportunities, and this is one of them. And this event here is a huge opportunity for myself, and I believe for everybody here. We didn't have a notion of what opportunities are. Can you believe that? We had a world, a bubble we lived in, and then when the whole dictatorship and the communism ended, we didn't know what to do with freedom that everybody cherishes so much. We didn't know what to do with it. So I've gone on a very long journey in learning about opportunities, in seeking opportunities, and now, hopefully, trying to give back and creating some opportunities, hopefully for you as well here. So this is my story, and I will need to try and figure out how this works. Okay. So I come from corporate background. I worked mostly in marketing and sales across different industries, from TV and film business to offshore wind farms. That's a range. 2 years ago, I decided that it is about time to follow my other passion as well, so marketing being one. Well, actually not 2 years ago, it came when I was 39. I went back to uni and studied English literature and writing. One of the reasons, the main reason why I moved to the UK was to learn English properly. It's the most beautiful language in the world. I really, really like it. I speak several languages, but this is my favorite. And since we moved here 12 years ago with my fiance, by the way, supporting Newcastle football team, he's been supporting them from Budapest, where we lived most of the time. We were called plastic Geordies. Yes, so most of my family and friends from back home in Hungary and Romania would be asking, when are you coming home? And I said, I am at home, and I'm not making any propaganda here. I really feel at home here, so I'm happy to have this opportunity with you guys. Building on my marketing background, I thought to be possibly a given, but also a good thing to start building a business on something that you already know. And then I incorporated the writing as a passion. That will not come up here if not for the copywriting, but I do more than that. So I don't want to talk about that right now because it's not the purpose of this presentation. I am combining the marketing and the writing, and I target business owners who would like to write their stories. I'm actually writing a course for that, but I'm also offering coaching on that one. This is work in progress as we speak, so this is not going to come up on the slides. But I also offer support on the two separate areas, marketing and then writing separately. This one here is marketing, and for the last 2 years I've learned on many master classes, mostly from the US, on how to do marketing in a smart way, if you will. And this is not to say that the standard basic marketing doesn't have value. It does, and I will show you, I will demonstrate to you how what I'm talking about relates to what you might already know about marketing. So first of all, I have lined up the 3 main things that I do and the 3 main areas that I can help you with. In marketing, I particularly specialize in who here already has sales funnels implemented in your business? Great. Would you like to find out more about what funnels are? Okay. You will be happy to hear that I'm not one of those who would say, well, you should replace your website with a funnel. No. I believe there is maximum potential when you actually align the two together, and this is the main thing that I can help you with, and I would like to point that out because this is the bigger part of whether it's consultancy, coaching, or services that I offer to you, which you will see on the next slide. Aligning your website with funnels, sales funnels, this is what could help generate more business. Now, one question, who here would like to have more leads, more clients, more income, more revenue? Okay, so if you would be thinking at any point here that this might not necessarily be for you, please understand that whatever your business, I can help to tailor the basics of this knowledge to whatever it is that you do and figure out together with you how you can use this business intelligence and make it profitable for your business. So this is why I'm here. If you would like to take pictures of this, if not, we can send you the slides. I only made 5 slides, you'll be happy to hear. This one here, I wanted to explain a little bit about what the difference between these two are, because this is the most important thing that I think you should understand from this presentation. Websites have lots of buttons, so you're actually giving a confusion to your visitor. Yes, it's your window. Yes, it's good to have it, and yes, it's good for them to find everything out about you. But then, how can you make sure that they will find that one offer you wanted them to buy from you? You're actually leaving it to them to find it, and this is exactly what funnels will then rectify. You are only offering one thing, making it easy for the customer, for the visitor first, to follow through in a way that you want to guide them through your shop, through your office, whatever it is, whether it's a product or service you're selling. This is the difference between the two. Now, you will appreciate why I like to say that aligning the two is important. It depends on what the product is or the service is, which way you're going to go. Do you want to show one offer first, and then at the back of it, then you will say, hey, I've got more. Do you want to see my website as well? Or you could go the other way around. I'm just building a funnel for an author in my dear client in North Carolina, US. I built a website for her to start with because her product is a children's book, and as it happens, it's illustrated by her daughter, amazing illustrator, 70 odd pictures in the book. It's beautiful. So I created a website first, and I let everyone come and look around and interact with the website. And at the back of it, we said, okay, and if you want, you can actually pre-order the book. It's still in the print, the book, but people have come and bought it. So we were making money when the product wasn't ready. It's still not ready. So this is the other way around. But more often than not, you would have it the other way around. You would have one offer, and then at the back of it, you would be presenting your website as well, or linking to your website. So, and the way you do that, there is an intelligence called value ladder. Has anyone heard of this? The value ladder is, and I'm very happy to offer you a free consultation to anyone here in the room to explain these concepts in more details. It is the actual customer journey that you are creating, you are planning upfront before somebody even clicks to your website or funnel. You will have a series of products or services that you have to offer to anyone visiting your website or funnel. And the value ladder is what it says. It's the value that you will be giving to the visitor to the site every step of the way. And imagine that as a courtship. Somebody coming to your website for the first time, they don't know you. You will not hit them straight away in the head with, hey, buy this from me. They don't know you, they don't know your product, they don't trust you, and this is the key word here. So this is exactly what the value ladder does, builds the trust with your audience, and I'm going to call it audience as a big, because that would involve first-time visitors to your site, it would involve leads who might have come from your emails at a next stage. So basically, the value ladder, and this is what I can help you to build whatever your business. I will be listening to start with, because I need to learn about your business, to then be able to understand how best to construct that ladder, and how best to have that presented to your visitors to the site, whether it's website or funnel. Usually that involves a free transaction at the beginning. Have you noticed that I mentioned I'm going to offer you a free consultation? That's my lead magnet, we call it, because, well, let's be honest, everybody likes something for free, especially if I give you the promise of helping your business with it, right? So I offer you something for free in exchange for your email address, and then I will be using your email address not to spam you, believe it or not, but to introduce myself, giving you a little bit more about my story and about what I have done and how I've done it, kind of educating my audience a little bit towards what it is that I do. So we go on a first date, right? And then on a second one, and from there we can build the trust. So later on, when you will see it by third or fourth email, you will know, oh, okay, so she's the one who will help me to build my value ladder. So I'm going to read her email. Maybe you will not, but I hope you will. Anyway, so the value ladder is the customer journey. First you give something for free, then you give something for a little bit of money, and then you're good to go higher and higher in terms of the value and the price of the product or service that you are selling. So this is basically the value ladder. There's a whole science behind it. I've studied this for 2 years. I promise you I have lots to share with you, and I'm happy to do that for free. Give me a call or send me an email or sign up on my funnel. This is called offer sequencing. You don't, when you first meet somebody at the bar, you don't just go, hey, do you want to marry me? You have to build up that trust, that relationship, and this is called offer sequencing. And that kind of intelligence will help you grow your business, believe it or not, because what that gives you, it gives you control over how you're selling your products and how you're building at the same time your relationship with your client base, because you will first have visitors to your funnels or website, then they will become leads on your email list, so you will be emailing them and eventually selling to them, and they obviously will be buying your products, so they will become your customers, clients, and repeat customers. And this is very important. You can have repeat customers by doing it this way, and there is one level even higher. They will be your advocates, and this is very important because they can do the sales and the marketing for you just because they like you and they trust you. This is what I'm going to do for these events here. Moving on to copywriting. This is the whole planning thing, the whole strategizing, preparing all the systems, setting them up and all that. The copywriting, well, we need words for that, and I may not be very good at that right now here, but yeah, you do need to have this strategic copy written every step of the way to be able to actually drive your visitors to what you want them to do. And when I say you want them to do, it sounds very negative because it sounds a little bit manipulative, but it is not, because you're targeting your audience, right? So you're finding those who already are in need of something that you have to offer. You just reverse engineer the thing. So I know what I have to offer, so how do I find the people who would need that? And by doing so, and being very consistent and very, very strategic about building that relationship with them, you are actually providing value to them. And you are providing it in a way that they can digest it. So I needed to speak about the value ladder before I could tell you a little bit more about what sales funnels do. But if I came here and told you straight away about sales funnels and this is how you build it up, why do I need that? Well, this is why. So you start from where they can understand, and then you grow that relationship. Whatever your business, your product or service, you know what it is, you know the benefits of it, so now you reverse engineer it. Why would people need this? And this is how you put it to them. And you need words for that. I'm not going to look too much into this one, but the curiosity and the scarcity elements are very important. Curiosity, because if you cannot make it appealing, then it will just crawl. We live in a very, very fast world. You need to grab their attention somehow, and then that's another science as well. And the scarcity, please do not use that, do not abuse that, I should say. I had scarcity at the end of this, you will see that, and I'm going to demonstrate why that's a real one, and this is the right way of doing the scarcity, not the spammy way. Hey, this is just now, just for you, you know, not that thing. But it is very, very important. And this is your story sequencing. Remember how I started by telling you about my very first, the starting of my journey with the dictator dying on the Christmas Day and all that. Now I'm here now, so you don't know what's been in between. But if you sign up, I promise to tell you a little bit more about my story. And this is to demonstrate to you how you should be doing it as well, because this is how you build up the relationship with your audience. That story sequencing. So you have to do your offer sequencing first, because obviously we are in the business of making money, right? So you have to create your offer sequencing, but then you have to choose your story and do your story sequencing in a way that will help you achieve this. So it will all have to be synchronized. Moving on, how about also having some automation? Because we can all do with some sleep, some days off. I quit my job 2 years ago, and I thought, oh, I need to be an entrepreneur because I want to do my writing. I'm writing 2 books at the moment, and I ended up working 12, 14, 16 hours a day. So I actually work more than before. I am enjoying it, no complaining about that. But because there is a time when you're setting up your systems, that will be time consuming. But ultimately, we all aim for some sort of automation, including in the marketing and sales. How awesome that I'm talking to you here now, but people are signing up on my funnel and I'm making money while I'm speaking to you here. So this is the benefit of having systems in place and using the intelligence of everything that we achieved so far as in terms of, you know, making the most of the internet, I should say, and most of everything digital and all the smart, clever softwares and applications and everything that's there. And I can help you with that too. I'm quite technical in that as well, I have to say. In terms of automation, the one thing that I would like to highlight here, it comes down to which funnels to use and when. That's going to be part of the teaching that I can provide. The epiphany bridge is when you tell your story in a certain way that can capture the audience, but make it. We all get hooked at some time on different episodes running on the TV, right? Just imagine doing that for your business. So I'm not going to tell you my story in one setting. Instead, I'm going to open the look in one email. Don't close it to keep you curious for the next one. I will be closing the first loop in the second email, opening a new one, and so on and so on. And this is basically what the Epiphany Bridge does. It is a system. I can teach you how to do that to keep your audience engaged and get them back at the end of that. And then this line here is another very important strategy. How do you decide if you're sending your email automation I'm talking about there? How do you decide how many emails you send without selling and when you're actually sending something in your email? That's another strategy that we can talk about and I can teach you. Many people do it many different ways, but what works for most would be value email, story email, and then offer email. This is something that has been proven to work for all the many people, mentors and business owners, multimillionaires that I've been learning from. By value, I mean teaching something, just what I do here. Like I'm telling you something that I learned myself and I'm sharing with you for the benefit of your business. This is providing value to your audience. And you do that in one email and then the next. And then you tell them some story as well. Doesn't necessarily have to be teaching all the time. It can also be funny if you can. And then you can send an offer. Hey guys, I've heard of this thing or this event. It only costs £5. Do you want to attend? And this is an offer that I'm making. You can obviously, as you progress your audience through your value ladder, individual visitors and clients, you can have that offer at a higher and higher rate. And by this, I also encourage you to think about if you only have one product or one service that you specialize in, think about what else you can make out of it, so then you can have a range of price tags. So then you can build up your value ladder, something cheaper at the beginning and growing afterwards. So those are the three things mainly, but this involves strategy, marketing strategy, as well as building up all these systems technically for you, writing the copy at every point, and actually doing some sort of advertising, if you will, but I don't specialize on that. I specialize on the whole thing, like the whole strategy, and then I prefer, even for my own ads, I prefer to have somebody who only specializes on that one, but I do the whole picture. So the next slide is, well, these two slides are basically the value that I'm trying to provide here for you. Tells the what, the why, what you should be doing to be successful online, why you should be doing it. Well, why? Because all the successful people are doing it this way. So if you want to increase your business, we talked about scaling here earlier. If you want to increase your business, this is how it's done by the big ones who are making a lot of money. I don't want to bore you with numbers, so but you can look it up. So this this actually works, and this is the how. I also like to simplify because I was overwhelmed myself when I started. I have over 15 years experience in marketing, and even with all that marketing experience, I found it very overwhelming when I started learning the direct response marketing, the sales funnels and all that. So I'm on a mission not only to spread the word about sales funnels and how to align with the website, but also about how to simplify it for your business. And it all comes down to these two words. Most of the time, we are all about me. This is my product, this is how great it is, and the benefits of my product. And it should really be about your audience's challenges. You have to identify what your audience is challenged about. Like, I'm talking to business owners, entrepreneurs, so my client, my target audience has given up completely. has left his desk or her desk, and then I come and try and sit next to them and provide solutions. And this is how you should, if you concentrate on these two things, what are the challenges of my audience, and what solutions I can provide. This is the best approach when you think about how to help them and how ultimately to make money with it. Have you noticed that I'm talking about providing value? This is the whole point of it. When you do it the right way, your primary goal will always be how best I can serve my audience. Money will come afterwards. On this chart, as simple as I could possibly make it, I tried to demonstrate the difference between something back here, which is kind of the standard marketing, the standard way of doing marketing, and this one here, which you may or may not have already implemented as well. Now, because just as you can see here on the chart, if you don't already have offers, and instead you're selling products or services, you're losing out on this base. Here as well, if you're just selling, it's all about you, I'm selling my services. If you're not doing it in a consulting way, it should be about your customer. And again, you're losing out a huge number of clients. And the last bit here as well, the website, they offer multiple choices, as I said earlier. If you're not attaching sales funnels, again, you're losing out a big chunk of the business that you could have if you had that built as well. And I'm not saying replacing these with those, I'm saying adding to that as well. So, just very briefly, this is what you should be doing and why, as I explained, and this is how you should be doing it. Happy to help you with more in these 3 ways. As I mentioned, consulting, training, services. You could choose either or all of them, and you notice whichever of the 3 you would like to choose. I'm happy to start with a free session at this step of the way. And for this group here, I will promise to provide huge discounts as well compared to my standard prices if you would like to do that. So the consulting would be tailored advice, training would be for you to master funnels, and I'm happy to share everything that I know so then you can build it for yourself. Or if you find it slightly overwhelming, probably you would like to save your time for doing what you do best, then I have the third option for providing the services for you and building it for you. Again, at every step of the way, I provide free because I want this coach to work. Okay, and this is me. This is, you would think it's my website, but it's not, it's a funnel. And you will be pleased to hear that I only have one proposition for you on that funnel. Is for you to sign up for a free consultation. This is the one offer that I'm making there. It's an invitation. And this is the scarcity. Remember how I mentioned the scarcity? You have to sign up in 1 week. So you have from today until next Friday if you would like to benefit from further help from me. Reason being, and I want to explain this before I close up here, I am planning my February and March. First of all, so I need for my own business to be able to plan with you, any of you who would like to take up my offer. And second of all, I also want to have enough time to allocate to every one of you. So I don't want to overcrowd myself and then not be able to deliver what I promise here. This is the right way of doing scarcity. I'm telling you, because it's my time, and my time is everybody's time is limited. I'm asking you to sign up within the next week if you would like to hear more about this. That's all from me today. Thank you very much for letting me present this. Thank you very much.
All right. Okay, so we're going to break for lunch now. So if anyone's got any questions for Judith, catch her over lunch now. And if anyone, if that was new to some of you, this stuff is really important. You know, my background is inbound marketing, social media, content marketing. I'm very good at top of the funnel, engaging, getting people interested, but I'm not as good at this sort of thing, so I need help. So I'm going to speak to you about it, right? Okay, so we're going to break for lunch now. We're going to have, let's say, 40 minutes lunch. We'll round you up and bring it back in. After the lunch, we're going to have David Summerhays from Sindens, who's going to talk about social media do's and don'ts and defamation and the risks of posting things online that can get you into trouble. Just this last week, there's been one of the ITV newsreaders has been sacked for something that he posted on social media. So stick around for that, and obviously the high potential startups workshop as well. So okay, thank you. Thanks very much.